Hey guys, it's Sydney at TRG. Today I'm checking out the Sole SRVO. This is a smart home gym that lets you do all kinds of exercises on this small platform. How does it compare to others like Vitruvian, and is it worth it? Let's find out. So the appeal that smart home gyms like the SRVO have is that they allow you to do all kinds of exercises that you do in a weight room, but they take up a fraction of the space. So the Sole SRVO is about the size of a yoga mat. It's actually just a little bit shorter. It's 41.5 inches long, 20.6 inches wide, and only 5 inches tall. It's designed to be stored under a bed or a couch or in a closet completely out of the way when you're done with it. The SRVO weighs 66 pounds, so it's very compact considering all that you can do with it. So you could carry it to move it, but it only has one handle on the side, so it's a little awkward to carry. It's easier to lift it up on the side that has the handle, and then you engage the transportation wheels on the other side to wheel it around. Sole definitely has taken inspiration from Vitruvian with the SRVO, although the SRVO is a little bit more budget friendly. At the time of filming this, the all-in-one trainer is $2,000 and the all-in-one trainer complete that comes with the bench is $2,500. So I'm going to get into what comes with each package in a moment, but it is a little bit pricey, but it's less so than other smart gyms. And the SRVO doesn't let you lift as much weight as the Vitruvian, so it goes up to 132 pounds per cable, so 264 pounds in total. Now this is still a pretty significant amount of weight. I think this could work for most people, but if you're a seasoned weightlifter, you'll probably want to consider a machine like the Vitruvian Trainer Plus. The Sole SRVO has a 330 pound weight limit. So to use it, you're either standing or kneeling, laying, or planking on it. So it handles a good amount of weight and it feels sturdy underneath you. It doesn't rock, and so it stays firmly planted on the floor underneath. You do have to put some of your weight on it in order to pull the handles, otherwise it'll move if you're just standing off of it and you pull the handles, but this is pretty typical for fitness platforms like this one. It's not as sleek as the Vitruvian, but it's pretty well constructed. The platform is really functional and it feels nice. It comes with a mat over top to help prevent and avoid any scratching. And it helps just to protect it from your shoes when you're standing on it doing certain exercises. And then the two cables on either side are strong for the high amounts of weight that can be loaded. And the attachments have a clip they just have these metal clips, so they're easy to swap out for different attachments. It's also easy to load and unload the weight, but I'm gonna get into that in a moment. But right now I just wanna talk about the hardware. So there are plastic pieces that the clips then attach to the cables. They don't affect the overall quality or stability of the cables and attachments. We haven't had any problems with them breaking or anything. It's a really durable plastic. And the Sole SRVO gets its name because it has two servo motors that are built in. These control the adjustable resistance. And the weight feels very similar to other smart home gyms that use cables like the Vitruvian. It might take some getting used to, especially if you prefer using free weights. It just might not be best if you prefer using free weights. But on machines like this, exercises like presses can feel just a little bit jerky and different from using free weights, so just keep that in mind. I really like that it uses the carabiner clips. This swapping out for different attachments is really quick and convenient. And on the SRVO, you can do over 150 exercises thanks to all the different attachments that it comes with. So when you buy the all-in-one trainer, it comes with the SRVO and then the mat, the barbell, the handles, and the ankle straps and the belt. And the barbell and handles are knurled metal, which I really like. They feel really well made and the knurling is nice so you can get a good grip. And then the belt and ankle straps are Velcro, so they adjust really easily to fit. So you can do like leg lifts with the ankle straps, and you can do belt squats with the belt. And then the all-in-one complete package, which is the more expensive option, comes with all of these attachments, and then you get the rope, the short bar, and then the bench. And the bench adjusts to 4 different positions, so it inclines and it's also flat. And you can place it just over the servo for exercises like bench presses, or you can place it next to the servo for split squats. I like that the bench is an option and it's comfortable. It has nice padding, but it's bulky. So it has this metal piece that extends up so you can rack the barbell, and there's hooks to rack it. And then this piece collapses onto the bench, and then the bench folds down to be flat. But overall, it's pretty bulky and it takes up extra space in addition to the servo. So just keep this in mind, especially if you're looking for something really compact. Something also to keep in mind is that pull down exercises aren't possible with the servo. So with the rack that's attached to the bench, you can't do any sort of pull down exercises like tricep pull downs like you can on a regular cable machine. The rack isn't meant to hold any weight, so even when you rack the barbell, you do that with the weight unloaded. You can do most strength exercises on the servo though, and it's a nice quality machine for its price. And Sole includes a 1-year warranty for the servo and 90 days for the accessories. So now let's get into the training modes and the safety features and how to adjust the weight. Okay, so one thing that I like about the servo is that it has a small display to see how much weight is loaded and a dial to adjust the weight. It can be used with the Sole Plus app, which I'm about to get into, but it can be used without, which is really nice. So the number displayed on the screen is the weight per cable. So each cable adjusts from 4 pounds up to 132 pounds. And the weight adjusts in 1 pound increments with the dial. And then once the weight is loaded or unloaded, a voice comes on to say when the weight's loaded or not. I think that Sole included this for safety, so you know exactly when the weight is on or not on the cables. But it's a little annoying because you can't mute the voice completely. You can turn the volume down in the Sole Plus app, but it's still a little loud. Also, when you're adjusting the weight with the dial, it flashes so you know when you can add the weight and take off the weight, and then once you set the weight and press the middle of the dial, it loads it. Now the weight isn't adaptable like the Vitruvian, so it doesn't make you take an assessment to determine the maximum amount of weight that you can handle for each exercise, so you do need to use some caution, especially when you're lifting the heavier weight. But the servo does have some added features. So there's a resistant stop feature, and this is where you can set the stop point that the weight should deload at. So if you're in like a bench press and you pull the cables out and you press the dial or the button on the barbell so you don't have to reach down. You press that twice when you come down into your rep, so when the barbell's just above your chest, you then press this, so this way if you start fatiguing or you're struggling, the weight will deload once the bar gets to be at that point that you set it when you're down in the rep. So, you know, in case you were to drop it or something, it doesn't crush you. It's kind of like how safety bars work on a squat rack. And then the static feature will unload the weight if the cables are in the same position for 10 seconds. So this is the idea that if you're struggling, the servo can sense it and it takes off the weight. And you can adjust the time, so you can adjust it to be more or less than 10 seconds in the Sole Plus app. And then the tilt feature, or dump feature as it's called in the manual, deloads the weight if one cable gets pulled out farther than the other. And you can turn this on or off in the Sole Plus app, but you don't want this feature to be on when you're doing unilateral exercises, otherwise it won't load the weight, so just remember that. And then the drop feature deloads the cables if you drop the attachment, like whichever, the handles, the barbell, whichever one you're using. So these safety features overall are nice to have, and they're definitely necessary, especially if you're using the servo when you're alone, since you can lift a pretty good amount of weight with it. And the servo also has 3 different training modes. So the standard mode is really what you'd expect. The weight you have loaded remains the same throughout the entire rep and throughout your entire range of motion. The eccentric mode, which is like Vitruvian's eccentric mode, keeps the weight applied during the eccentric portion of your exercise. So when you're in a squat, the weight's loaded when you're lowering towards the ground, and then when you rise up out of the squat is when the weight is taken off. And then the isokinetic mode is designed to keep your muscles activated throughout the entire range of motion in each rep. So you can select, there's a faster mode, which adds the weight, more weight the faster you go, and then it takes off the weight when you slow down. And then there's a slower mode that flips this, so when you go slow, it'll add more weight, and then if you speed up, it takes off the weight. So I prefer the standard mode overall, but it's nice to have these features to choose from. And the servo is Bluetooth enabled to connect to the Sole app, like as I mentioned, and it's completely optional to use. It's also free if you own Sole equipment, so like one of their treadmills or the servo. And the servo has a QR code on the side, so you can just scan it to download it onto your phone. And you'll need your phone to use it since there obviously isn't a touch screen on this. In the app, you can adjust the weight and adjust between the different training modes, and then you can also adjust between the different modes using the dial. The Sole app has trainer-led on-demand workout videos that are specific to the servo. So these feature an instructor who is using the servo and leading the workout. And the classes have music that plays in the background, and there are also closed captioning if you just want to mute everything. And then there are also workout programs for different goals or even specific sports. And then you can create your own workouts. So all of the exercises that you can do on the servo are shown in the app. It's kind of like the Vitruvian app if you're familiar with that. The name of each exercise is next to a graphic that shows a person that demonstrates each of the exercises that you can do on the servo. And I'm glad the app isn't required to adjust the weight, and I'm glad it's not required to just use the servo in general. It's nice to have for guidance if you need it, but it's nice that you can use the servo without it too. All right, now I'm going to do a little demo of the servo just so you can see and hear it in action. But first, if you find this video helpful, make sure to like and subscribe. We test all kinds of fitness equipment, even smart home gyms like the servo, so make sure to subscribe. We have a lot of great content coming your way. All right, so I'm gonna start by adding some weight.
Resistance has been started. Please pay attention to your safety.
So that's the voice that I was talking about earlier. So now the weight is loaded. I can go right in, do some bicep curls. I can also adjust the weight down.
Resistance has been started. Please pay attention to your safety.
So besides the voice, you hear noise from the cables moving, which is pretty typical for like fitness platforms like this one. Overall, it feels pretty smooth, and it's quiet. It's just
resistance has been released.
This voice that unfortunately makes noise, but it's also nice to let you know when the weight's loaded and when the weight's not loaded. Thanks for watching my review of the Sole SRVO. I really like that this is a compact machine that lets you lift up to 264 pounds. And the weight adjusts in 1 pound increments and can be adjusted using the dial or the Sole app. And you can do over 150 exercises on the platform, and there are 3 different training modes to control when and how the weight is applied with each rep. And it comes with different accessories to do all the exercises, and it connects to the Sole app for access to trainer-led workouts, or you can create your own workouts. And when you're done, it can be stored under a bed or a couch or in a closet out of the way. Some things to keep in mind is that the max weight might not be enough for some people. So if you want to lift up over 250 pounds, I would consider the Vitruvian Trainer Plus. Also, even though it's nice for safety, the sound can't be muted on the machine, so a voice speaks to indicate when the weight is loaded and when it's not loaded, so it could be a little annoying. Overall though, if you're looking for a compact option for strength training at home, the Sole SRVO is a little more budget friendly than other smart home gyms, and it has a lot of nice features and capabilities. To learn more, head over to treadmillreviewguru.com. I have a full written review with even more details there. And to check the current price, click the link below in the description of this video. This is our affiliate link, so if you're ready to buy, we'd appreciate you using our link to purchase through. And if you find this video helpful, make sure to like and subscribe. We test out all kinds of fitness equipment, so you know what to expect. I'm Sydney at TRG. I'll see you next time.